Hi, welcome to week 3 of our fall harvest quilt along. So hopefully by now you have all of your papers, all of your pieces cut out, and you might have some tomatoes and your pumpkin done, and you are ready to get started on our week 3 vegetables. So let's go. So this week we are going to be sowing our potatoes and our broccoli. The broccoli is going to use the same method that we taught last week with the square stitch and flip on the different corners of the pieces. And it's going to go together the same way with the tomatoes and the pumpkins. So also with that though, you do have some smaller pieces like you do with the tomatoes, so just make sure that you keep track of everything. The potatoes, however, are going to be a little bit different. On these top corners, they actually have rectangles instead of the squares. So there's a little bit of a different thing that we need to do to address that. So we'll go ahead and show you how to do that so that you're ready to go with the potatoes and a couple of the other vegetables later on in our quilt along. Okay, so here we have our 2 potato halves, and this is actually probably going to be the easiest block out of all of them after you make sure that you line up that corner correctly. So for the bottom corner, this one is just a square, so it's going to be the same that we did on the other one. That's not going to be any change there. But on the top corner, however, we have a rectangle that we're going on there. And as you can see, if we were to line that up evenly and fold it back, it's not going to finish out the square like we need it to. So we have to just make one small change. And we're going to make a mark on the top and the side of our brown piece, and I just used a school chalk, and the measurements are going to be in your pattern, so that will show you where to mark it. And I just use school chalk. It shows up, it's going to rub right off. So then you're going to draw your line on your white square rectangle, just like we did before, but instead of lining it up that way, we're going to rotate it once. So you're going to be lining up opposite corners. Then after you go through and sew on that line, it's going to fold back and fill in that space just like it should. So we'll go ahead and get that sewn up. Sew up the bottom one, trim it, iron it, sew the 2 halves together, and we will have all of our potatoes done and ready to put together. So first I'm going to go ahead and just sew the bottom one. Then flip it around to the top, and I just like to just double check one last time, make sure I've got it lined up correctly. Double check to make sure that it's going to fold back like it should, so that I know that I've got it in the right corners touching. Put it down, and then like I said, just sew straight on that line just like we did before. Now we're ready to trim that excess off, iron it back, and sew the 2 halves together so we have all of our potatoes ready. All right, so I have my potatoes all sewn together and they're ready to go. So now I can work on my broccoli. Also, if you get those done and you have extra time and you didn't quite get stuff done last week, now would be a good time you can catch up or work ahead if you have extra time. If you don't, or you are behind, don't stress over it. Just work on those blocks as you have chance and can get to them and finish it up when you can. As you finish things up though, and we're working on these, make sure that you post, if you post, use the hashtag FallHarvestQAL, Fall Harvest Quilt Along, so that we don't miss it. And we will see you next week. Bye.